सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हरि ओम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. Yes, can someone recollect what is it that we last saw? And again, I request all participants, please turn on your video feeds. It's much easier to interact that way. Also, you can just raise your hand and pause, like a magic remote. You can ask me to stop anytime if your video feed is on. So yes, please. Anybody, can you recollect what we saw last? Yes, please. Anybody? Any point. You can form the link and then move ahead. Yes, yeah, anybody. Okay, Chitraji to the rescue. All right. Yes, please. Ji.
Yeah, so we started with the third adhyaya where Arjuna asks Krishna to clarify between the spiritual and path, the necessity of the spiritual path
Ji.
and the uh,
Material
over
path, which is one, which is correct.
spiritual knowledge over material action.
Okay. Yeah.
I think my has issues, but yeah, I'll just try.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just wanted clarification. So Krishna begins to tell that there are two kinds of people: one who believe in karma yoga, and one who, through knowledge, who find the satisfaction.
Ji.
Yeah, and then Krishna emphasizes on why actions have to be performed, and there's no single moment that goes by without forming any action. This is the nature or prakriti. And so one who can control his senses via his mind and detached from the external disturbances and performs his action is called as a supreme soul.
Hmm.
Um, and we saw about Mukta Sangha, free
Yeah.
and connected. So we
Reunion.
saw, yeah, and then, the importance of sacrifice, because the Prakriti is set in such a way that sacrifice has to be there. So this is the way it is all set up. And yeah, so one should, who does not offer anything to the divine but seeks everything in return as um,
Like a thief. He's begging
nothing but
also
a
and a
thief
thief.
or a beggar. So we
Yeah.
saw that.
Right.
Yeah. So one who is contented and understands the spirit of contentment is a person who is not needy and is very joyful.
Yeah.
So we saw that. And so, yeah.
So
So
that was
when you
about
perform
it.
your actions in detachment, it yields the best result.
Yes. So detachment and yielding best results. Yes, Kalpana ji. Yes, please. Thank you, Chitra ji. Yes. Please unmute Kalpana ji. I can't hear you.
One point which can be added further is whatever through the yajna or we get back. So that also the prasad what we receive, that is also to be distributed, or the goodies what we receive, ashirwads
Yeah.
what we receive, they have
Yes.
to be also distributed. Otherwise, ahankar comes in.
Yes. Yes. So whatever we receive, that also we can distribute.
Distribute,
Absolutely.
sacrificing or distributing, that is.
And the world is in a state of sacrifice, isn't it? Nityam yagne
Yeah,
pratishtitam. The entire world, right from the entire
ecosystem.
universe, ecosystem is there. So absolutely. Thank you, Kalpana ji. So this very basic aspect of detachment has been introduced. Detachment will remain the fundamental principle of the Gita as we go on now. From second adhyaya, it will keep appearing in different ways up till the 18th adhyaya as well. This is not something you can ignore. It will keep coming. So it's better to right now face it, understand it, or if we don't want, we can reject it, but it will keep coming in different directions. Krishna is saying detachment is necessary. He has used a very beautiful term called Mukta Sangha, free union. That is detachment. In Adhyatma also, I mean, in any organization also, you want freedom also, isn't it? The organization should help the individual's growth. If individual growth is not taking place, what is the point in being in the organization? Where is the growth taking place? If the organization is just using the individual to further its own objective. But now, if the organization is only supporting an individual growth and not supporting organizational growth, again, the individual will never continue, isn't it? So there should be kind of an harmony. And that harmony is something which is to be realized in yoga. That is what Krishna is talking about. And he says, everybody is continuously doing some karma or the other. Yogis, when they meditate, some people say they are doing no action. See, that Himalayan yogi is simply sitting and meditating. We do not know on the occult level what actions are taking place. We only understand actions that are in front of our eyes. We say actions taking place. Sometimes words also are a conscious action, isn't it? Somebody's words which are said from one person to another person, somewhere else, the words have a value. They can bring about transformation. Now look at Bhagavad Gita. We are using Bhagavad Gita in what we call Ghor Kalyug. Right now, we are looking at Bhagavad Gita and receiving wisdom from this ancient text. Why? Because they are conscious, they are alive. So, this consciousness is there. So, every time action is going on, we need not think just because something is not visible on the surface, nothing is going on. Nahi kaschit shanam api jato. Krishna says, not a single moment goes when action is not taking place. There's a beautiful quote, I think, attributed to the mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashram. If at all the French Revolution took place, it was because there was a man on Indian's nose meditating upon liberty, equality, and fraternity. Means on an occult level, forces have been experienced by people in the battlefield. Suddenly, I received the strength. I received the strength, and soldiers in the World War who are nowhere connected, they got experience of some force, some divine spirit guiding them, for helping them move ahead. So there's a different world. It's a big world, but understand this much that at all times, even if you look at very physically also, just go to a park randomly. You'll say nothing is going on. It's everybody's chill, relaxed. We do not know. You go a little bit more consciously, you'll be able to see. Who knows? There might be one couple meeting after what, 10 years, 20 years, such a big important moment. Most important moment might be just meeting after such a, what we can say, a separation or something. Somewhere else, two little kids will be playing, learning something. Another place, a dog is running around. At any moment, if you become conscious, you'll understand karma is going on. And in karma also, unless you perform sacrifice, you cannot be free. You will be trapped. You'll be having some or the other bandhana which is going to entangle you. What is going to happen when you get entangled? It affects your karma, isn't it? A machine that is having extra load, efficiency is always down. Mostly this machine will run down very early. That is something which we immediately try to identify. In engineering, the first thing we had to see was maximum efficiency, minimum wastage. Wastage from what direction? Well, everything right from the noise that was coming out. Noise is also a form of energy which is lost. So you have to reduce it. Something like that. Karma bandhanas are sometimes coming in the way of our spiritual realization. Karma bandhanas are coming in the way of our beautiful life experience also. Karma bandhanas are coming in way of our growth also. How do we do? What we have to do? We have to become free. There is a way for getting this freedom, and this freedom is called Naishkarmya Siddhi. The youngsters can visualize eating all the junk food and not adding 1 calorie. You say, I want that magic trick. How does it happen? Because junk food is that way junk for the body, isn't it? It doesn't help in any way. But still, because of the taste, people feel like having it. Something like that. You want to do karma and yet you don't want to get any karma bandhana. There is a simple way. There is a single way. Krishna says, Swaha Krishna Panam, or any other Aradhya. You say, I don't like Krishna. Fine. Whichever Aradhya you like, but sacrifice, sacrifice. Don't hold on to yourself. Because the day you sacrifice, you become free. In relationship also, say you want your partner to talk to you. Can wanting alone ensure that the person will talk to you? No. Our attachment, we think we have to hold on. If I hold on to attachment, then only I'll have control. Sometimes children try to hold on to somebody else, parents, or parents sometimes hold on to children under some pretext. But that's not going to work forever. As long you have to keep exerting force and again you'll lower your consciousness. So only way is letting go. Sometimes it is so important to let go, letting go of all those attachments, because that is the way you can get the Naishkarmya Siddhi. And when you become available, when you are free from karma bandhana, you are available. Available for whom? For the divine. For what? To perform divine action. To lead what life? To lead a divine life. Sri Aurobindo has beautifully written a beautiful book called Life Divine. Anybody has heard of it? Yes, Life Divine. Well, this is something which is a destiny for all of us. We have to lead a divine life. Why do we have to just go for, say, 5 days in a year? I'll go to Vrindavan and experience a happiness, or I'll go somewhere else for a retreat. What does retreat only mean? Moving backwards, isn't it? Why do you want to retreat when you can progress and go further ahead? And if that is possible throughout your life, well, that's what Krishna is offering to everybody. That make your life, transform your life divine, make it divine. The only way you can do is not have any attachment. But then many times attachment is good. I want this result. So we force the fire burns inside. If I don't want that result, what will be the motivation? That is a big question. How did this? And I am not a yogi. A lot of people use this dialogue. I am not yogi. That is possible for that person. That person is yogi. He is not human being. She is not human being. They are born with that star. They are separate. That is what we make a divide. But I think all yogis were also human beings only, no? They are human beings also, even if they are yogis. They have not ceased to remain human beings, but they have transcended. But what was the source of motivation? Because nobody gets it in the first day. It is a practice which allows a person to go ahead. So, what is the motivation? Because so far I was holding on to an attachment. At least I will get this in return. Maybe I didn't understand the higher principle, but I did it because I'm getting something in return. Parents also tell this to children, isn't it? बेटे homework करो chocolate मिल जाएगा. After a while, children start doing homework only for the chocolate, not for the spirit of understanding. That is a different thing. But at least they do some homework because of that initially. Generally, in the Krishna's Butter kids, we say don't motivate. This is like a bribe you are giving at a very early age to the child. Let the child understand its importance. But this motivation is a big question. And the question, what should be our motivation? Krishna beautifully answers it in the 20th shloka. So we'll enter into the 20th shloka. Krishna says, कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकः संग्रहमेवापि संपश्यन् कर्तुम् अर्हसि. This is the magic word, loka sangraha. Motivation is what? Betterment of the world. Loka sangraha. Let this be your drive. Is there a limit for loka sangraha? For bettering the world? Anybody? Yes. Is there a limit? Upper limit of? Okay, it's now I have made the world better. Now beyond this, it cannot be made better. Is it possible? Yes, anybody?
No, sir, it's not possible because problems are limitless, innumerable. So
Yeah.
automatically there's no end to solving or helping out people.
Yes. Yeah, and these problems make us emotional also, isn't it? We get some bad news, we receive some sorrowful news, and suddenly we feel all down and drained, isn't it? So what is
Yes.
the how we feel hopeless? So that is because we are connecting only with the outside. But if we are having a Loka Sangraha as our drive, it will be a source of limitless motivation. Let us see. Krishna says, King Janaka and the rest attained perfection only through their works and liberated action. Detached actions for the sake of the world are best. This is said to be the true yogic way by the wisest. For the sake of the world, for the betterment of the world. Why are you doing this action? Not for my personal motivation only. Sometimes I want a particular bank balance, so I am doing this work. What happens after you reach that bank balance? हो गया अब क्यों करना? Why to do it? So you're limiting yourself. Instead, when you work for the betterment of the world, then you try to progress, you try to evolve, and that itself becomes your driving spirit. So the great yogis, and Krishna gives an example. Krishna could have given so many examples. He knew so many. Nikhil ji's, Megha ji said, did not get what is Loka Sangraha. Yes, we'll come to now. I'll come to it right now. So King Janaka and the rest attained perfection. Perfection is what? Siddhi, isn't it? What is Siddhi? Siddhi is perfection. When we manufacture Ayurvedic medicines, we say this because Styla is Siddha, meaning it has reached the Siddha Lakshana or accomplishment. It has reached its final stage. Like that, an action, when you become perfect in it. How do you become perfect? Well, you keep the basics right. You can challenge the master also, isn't it? And that Siddhi can come when you are driven by one simple, selfless motivation that is, I want to do betterment for the world. Great people across the world have got this drive. That is why they became great, because they wanted to make the world a better place. Dr. Abdul Kalam, born in a village, but where he did not have too much facilities. But he had this aspiration right from a childhood that I want to do something good for the world. What happened then? He's now a father figure to so many people, isn't it? That inspiration has become the source of inspiration. Something like that, different great people have reached, and Krishna gives the example of Janaka. He says, King Janaka and the rest. Janaka was a Raja, he was a king, but Janaka was also a sannyasi. He was a Raja and a sannyasi at the same time. And Janaka's sannyas was so subtle, so distinct, that even Narada Muni got fooled. He did not realize he was in front of someone who is Jivan Mukta. Many times it is said if you have somebody who is head of an organization or say head of a country, it is better if that person is completely not having any bandhanas, any attachments, any familial relations. Why? Because what happens immediately, first thing is start making the world a better place starts by making their family life better. That becomes a problem. That becomes the source of all corruption. But Janaka Raja was not like that. His entire wealth, whatever wealth he had, what we say monk in the Ferrari, best example is the ancient Janaka Raja only. That time this brand also didn't come into existence. He was in his own league. He was experiencing that. And in his, Janaka Raja was also a beautiful, ideal kingdom also. What we can say, the example for people to follow. Even now, people try to emulate the standards that were set. How can one become great? If at all I want to do something good in the world, let me aim for making the world best. And I say low aim is a crime. So let me aim for making the world a better place. Somebody wants to ask a query? You can. Somebody has unmuted? No. So fine. I'll just mute everybody then. If you have a question, you can ask. So I think Meghaji, the Loka Sangraha means working for the betterment of the world. If you want to just say in a simpler way. And Krishna says, these great ones, they have attained their, what we can say, siddhi by performing actions with that aim only. I want to make the world a better place. Great social workers, great reformers, all of them have found a continuous drive. Because many times when you go on a path, you don't have motivation only, isn't it? You feel alone, suddenly you feel helpless, situations come in your way, emotions suddenly betray you, you feel, what do I do right now? That time you must have this, "Yeah, I'm going to do this. Ekla chalo re, why did Rabindranath Tagore say that? Because nobody was talking to him, he was bored, he was saying, enough, I don't trust the world anymore, I'll walk alone. No, they are ready to face the world because they are clear in their mission. I against the world also I'm able to work because my mission is clear, my direction is clear. And Loka Sangra can happen in which place? Only when somebody is on the topmost position of an organization, or Loka Sangra can happen at any time. A person at a petrol bunk station also, when he is, what is he doing? He's offering service, isn't it? Is there any higher purpose in service? No. If he becomes conscious, the divine may work through that person. He might actually quickly save a few minutes, and in the traffic, in the traffic, 1, 2 minutes make a lot of difference, isn't it? So he might become an angel for somebody by sometimes allowing a vehicle to go a little faster. It might turn out to be that saving grace of a few seconds for another person somewhere else. We talked about Dr. Abdul Kalam. Yes, he did great Lokasangra. Did his mother do Lokasangra? Anybody? Dr. Kalam's mother, did she do Lokasangra? Yes or no? Anyone? Yes, anybody? Yes, please. I think we should have a discussion, conversation. It's easier to understand. Yes, please. Juhi ji?
Actually, I feel that she did because
Yeah.
when a person grows,
Hmm.
the most influence that the person is having is from their mom and dad, and
Yes.
maybe they're from their surrounding. So, and
Yes.
even APJ Abdul Kalam has written that his mother had a lot of influence on his personality, and
Yes.
like she taught him a lot of good stuff. And I also
Hmm.
saw that in my own mother. So I think moms do wonders when they are doing their job, which is to raise their kid honest and proper.
Yes. So they must raise their kid for themselves, for their kutumba, for their family, for their jati, or like that? Or what should be the aspiration for mankind?
I think the his mother raised him to be a good person, and
Hmm.
if a person is good, then that gotta be a good person for the whole world,
Yes,
as
for
far
the
as I
whole
think.
world, isn't it? Yes. Their attachment should not come in, no? Or should attachments come in? Marathi, there is a saying, Shivaji must be born, but in the neighbor's house. My Bandu and Bandi should live a normal life. They should get married at this age. They should have this many children. I don't want revolutionary in my house. But in Maharashtra, Chhatrapati Shivaji is considered a god or a devat because that was the time. It was unbelievable. It looked like the culture of Maharashtra also would be destroyed. One side, the Siddhis were there, other side, Topikas were there, these Mughals were on the other side. All sides, it looked like there was no chance, there was no scope. And at that time, a young boy, what we can say, how did he manage? It was unbelievable. So he is so great, and yet a lot of people feel no, 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 he shouldn't be in my home because they think only about narrow-mindedness, like Dhritarashtra thinks. This is Mama Kaha Pandavascha. So when you are having a mother who she may not have learned so much, she may not have studied, she may not have a PhD, but she can create an Dr. Abdul Kalam by giving the right sanskara, by giving the right freedom, by under teaching the right principles of being a good human being, ready for the whole world. That is something which is important. So at every point, whatever work we are doing, you take a pen and paper and you start writing something, think about it as Loka Sangra. You're drawing something, let it be an action for Loka Sangra. Speaking to somebody, let it be for Loka Sangra, yani betterment of the world. Let me do something better. It's all right. Now in Pondicherry, every time Saturday, Sunday, we have this, what we can say, tourists coming in large numbers. So what happens because of that? People come for partying and then they throw all their trash. So much that the beach has got fully flooded with plastics and chappals and everything. So now few elderly persons from the ashram said, enough, we will do something. Let us all do something. Let us start cleaning the beach. Now we'll call it crazy. What will 2 people, 3 people, how much trash can they pick up? It's crazy only, isn't it? That too, a senior citizen, elderly, why will they? And that too, one day people get off, that is Sunday, on that day, let us do it. But suddenly that was the principle of Lokasangra, united quite a number of people. So now they say anybody wants join, we'll give you gloves, we'll give you what we can say baskets. We can start picking up trash. Everybody is now happily becoming a trash picker. For what reason? For Loka Sangraha. And when you do actions for Loka Sangraha, you start evolving. So this is the aspect Krishna talked about. This is the secret of Karma Yoga also. Let us all focus on this. Krishna says, detached actions for the sake of the world. Detached action, I think, yes, and Shravanam also is Lokasangra because we are going to listen to Gita and try to practice it in our life. So that way, everywhere, every action can become that. So detached action for the sake of the world are best. This is said to be the true yogic way by the wisest. Why? Yad yad acharati shreshtaha tat tad deve taro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanu vartate. Whatever actions the best amongst men perform, the other men seek to imitate. Whatever standard he sets as the norm, that the world tries to follow and emulate. Become the standard. That is what Krishna is saying. Because whatever the best perform, the others try to emulate it. They try to follow. Any organization you see in an office setup also, one person leads by example and suddenly others start following. That person sets the tone. Many times a team project, one person only makes that project go ahead. Everybody else try to relax. But still, that person sets the example. If that person doesn't do the work, the entire team will collapse. So somewhere that awakening takes place. One Lakshmi Narayan ji from Atlanta, he had shared his experience. A project came to his table and it was not necessary that he had to do it because personally there was nothing in it for him. And it was something which was an expertise which was not in his domain or in the domain of his organization. But he said, Krishna will not be happy. I have not done my karma right. So this table, it has come onto my table. Let me do it sincerely. Who is watching? Nobody is watching. Instead, everybody is making fun of him. His own colleague said, what is this? Saturday, Sunday, it's a party day in Atlanta. Nobody works on weekends. Friday is always winding down a day. Nobody takes up new projects that day. But he says, no, it has come to my table. Let me do it. The CEO comes and tells him, it is not compulsory. It's not compulsory. He says, no, let me give it a try. Let me try my best and then let it go. Because he felt Krishna will not be happy. That was his Shraddha. And that is all he did. So sometimes Loka Sangra, even if not for the world, for your Aradhya, you can do it always. And you know what happened then? His organization, it was in the peak of Corona time. Because of his work, which he worked sincerely, he lost a weekend with his family. Quality time with family, he lost. Yes. But that gave the job to the company. That gave the job. I think Vidisha ji wants to share something. Yes, please. Vidisha ji, most welcome. You can
Sir,
unmute.
actually, in Hariom, sir, actually,
Yes,
I'm
please.
traveling, so
Yeah,
sorry for the background noise.
no problem, please.
Sir, actually, during in COVID's, like I and my husband, we both were in the same city, but we did not meet each other approximately 11, 12 months because we
Uh,
both were serving in the wards
hmm,
and ICUs for almost
yeah,
24/7.
ji,
So
ji.
I
And
wanted to share that fun
yes,
experience. Hariom.
yes, namaskar, Hari Om. And definitely, this is what we must salute, isn't it? This is Loka Sangra. For what? Nobody is going to remember. Sometimes people don't respect all of this. Is not for that. It is not for what we get in return. It is for service, for betterment of the world. And how many lives were saved? Bharat could have lost so many lives if it is not for the doctors who took personal risks at a time when it was very crazy, unthinkable. People had already planned so many disasters for our country, but it did not happen. Why? There were people who were working. We people very much like Dr. Vidisha ji, her husband, all of them. What was the reason? Well, this is the sutra, and this is something we must become conscious of because this will lead to our evolution, not because we want to add punya points. Okay, immediately, yes, this much good karma I have done. Chitragupta is going to keep in record and give me more, I can say, extra leg room in my transport to heaven or something. No, nothing like that. It is for our duty because we have to set the example. We have to set the example for the society. What we stand by, we will only create. We will create a world order. If we have to create it, we will have to become the harbingers of that world order. We want society to change, we will have to change. We want to change what is happening around us. The first and most important thing that we have to do is change ourselves. If we can't do that, then we will not. We are just going to be a victim of circumstance. So the motivation can only be Loka Sangra. And Krishna says, Everybody will follow. Yes, I think Miraj is saying there was a headmaster in a village who walked 40 miles to house to collect money. Yeah, I think the message is missing. Yeah, house to collect money for high school in our village. Absolutely. There's so many. We have examples everywhere around us. Let us hold on to this sutra at least. If a message has to be taken, it is this, that Loka Sangraha. Krishna goes on, he says, Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nana vaptam avaptavyam vartam eva cha karmani. O Arjuna, I have no duties to discharge towards the people of all three worlds at large. There is nothing I haven't gained or seek to gain, and yet I perform my duties come sun or rain. Krishna is saying, I have no duties towards the world. He is the Raja, isn't it? He is the emperor. He has nothing, and he has enough force. A portion of Narayani Sevana only participated in. He has himself Sudarshan Chakra. He can go and claim any part of the world he wants. There is nothing he needs, he says. And yet, what is the Raja doing? He has become the Sarathi. Why? Because Kartavya. Why is that Kartavya? For betterment of the world. He is willing to take all the bad name, anything, all the praise, all the blame. It doesn't make a difference because this needs to be done. He says, I have no duties to discharge towards the people of all three worlds at large. There is nothing I haven't gained or seek to gain. And yet, I perform my duties, come sun or rain, at all times. Whether I'm praised, whether I'm criticized, I am going to do my duties. Why? Krishna says, Yadi yaham na varteyam jatu karmanya tandritaha mama vartamanu vartante manushyaha partha sarvashaha. If I didn't meticulously perform my every action and lead by example in every aspect, O Arjuna, all men would follow likewise and ape my path in every respect. If Krishna was not the leader leading by example and doing everything right, what would happen? Everybody would follow his lead, isn't it? Krishna did this wrong, so it is allowed. In some cults, the cult leaders do some very crazy acts. But because he is a cult leader, the people start following and saying this is allowed, this is right. Even if it's injustice, it is a part of it. And they try to standardize it or try to normalize it. And Krishna says, no, I have to follow. I have to follow at all times. Because if I don't, people will follow my lead. And I can't afford to take that action or take people on the wrong path. This is my responsibility. So it's like a duty, isn't it? Many people say, what is there in India or what is there in Bharat? We don't get anything. This country is not giving us anything. You ask that to an armed forces person, he will say in a typical army fashion, he'll say, don't ask that. What country has given to you? What have you given to the country? You tell it right now. Really, that is the duty, isn't it? Our duty is, that is the kartavya. What have we done? What have we done? Because we are all connected. Slowly we'll understand the Purusharthas also, how we are all connected in society, consciously also. We don't realize it. Corona time was the best time to realize that we are all consciously connected. People who are suddenly we were all tracking, isn't it? Who is having corona, who is not having corona. Otherwise, we don't even care who is our neighbor. We don't even know what is the neighbor's name, what they are doing. But suddenly we were all, and then we all want to be superheroes by staying in the house. We are doing Loka Sangraha by our karma, isn't it? Not doing anything, just not traveling outside. We became what we can say, because those who traveled outside became the spreaders. So that time that was the biggest wrong karma. So like that, we are all connected. We can understand that, but there, our duties must be there. We have a duty towards society. Injustice happens somewhere and we tolerate it. It will come back to us. It will come back to us. So we should always stand by what is right. Krishna goes on, and here we see a different, scary side of Krishna. Everybody knows Krishna's loving side, the beautiful side. He is very wonderful, very calm, very peaceful. But this shloka reveals one more side. What we know only is the tip of the iceberg. Krishna is not having just for what we can say show a Sudarshan Chakra in his hand. He says, Utsideyu rime loka न कुर्याम कर्म चेदहम संकरस्य च कर्ता स्याम upahanyami mimaha prajaha. For if I were not to follow this path of action, the people shall follow suit and sink to destruction. I would become the perpetuator of pandemonium, confusion, and then have to slay them all for the opprobrium. Which is what will I have to do? Then the entire world will get destroyed, balance of society will be lost, and then I'll have to bring pralay. I'll have to become the pralay karta. It is like that. A gardener only can understand best. If there are too many weeds, what does the gardener do then? He has to remove everything. In that process, some of the nice plants also are lost because duties were not performed by the gardener. The weeds suddenly spread everywhere. If they were pulled out at right time, then it would have been simple. Just like that, Krishna says, yeah, I'll have to then reset, play the reset button. If everything fell asleep, if I did not follow the path of dharma. That is why I care for this world and I want this world to progress in the right direction. That is why I keep intervening. That is why I keep doing my works. That is why I'm consciously part of it. This is a grand design for some reason which we don't understand. Scientists also call this an intelligent design of our creation. What is that intelligence? What is that consciousness? That science has not yet understood. Maybe one day they will. And when they understand, we will probably understand Sri Aurobindo's words. What he says, when matter shall reveal the spirit's face, how will we realize in material? Let us continue. Krishna goes on. Saktaha karmanya vidvanso yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvans tatha saktas chikirshur loka sangraham. O Arjuna, just as the men of ignorance perform their actions all engrossed in attachment, so too the wise remain motivated as a norm to better the world by their works in detachment. Krishna is saying here, he says, just as how, what do ignorant people do? They revel in their desires, isn't it? You speak about selfishness, they'll say, they'll be very happy. You say selfless word, don't do something crazy. This world is not a good place, you have to be selfish. But they don't want anybody else to be selfish in relation to them because that is the swartha. That is the selfish nature. So ignorant persons will be driven by selfishness only. Krishna is teaching opposite of selfishness. He's talking about selflessness. Now, what happens when two opposite ideologies coexist? Anybody? I think sometimes we have it in our homes only, isn't it? What happens when two opposite ideologies coexist? Anyone? Yes.
Won't it make a balance then? Like
It'll become. Is it?
minus, minus, plus.
Joyji, you have friends who are absolutely opposite of you and at all times
Uh,
with you. Do you enjoy the
no, they're
company?
not at all times with me, but like
But
निंदक नेला राखिए, आगे
that is
खुदी
the
बधाई,
ideal.
and
Yes.
there's a doha about that. So
Yes. Bin pani sabun bina nirmal kare suhai. Keep your
yeah,
critics next to you. Godfather also has told, I keep my friends close, I keep my enemies closer because I can keep a. Godfather is not the godfather of any what we can say divine cult. I'm talking about just the movie. It is a mafia don who has said that in that character. But in practicality, what happens when opposite selfless ideology and selfish ideology come together to plan something? What will happen there? What will happen when fire and water come? Better example then. Fire and water come together, what's going to happen? Anybody? Yes, Anjuji? Yes, ma'am.
Those are poles apart. Like अगर दो clash ही होगा ना, अगर दो
Clash.
अलग,
Clash will happen, isn't it? Yes,
yeah.
clash will happen.
Hmm.
And that is why many people don't keep Gita in your house. They have a bad feeling that Yuddha will start because of Gita. It's actually a wrong statement. It is absolutely wrong. Gita will help you
Is it
remove this. Yeah, Aditi ji. Yeah.
isn't it said about Mahabharata and not Gita? Like it is
In the
Mahabharata, one
south,
should
in
not.
the south, no, in the south,
Okay.
here at least
Oh,
in Pondicherry, that is what so many people told. Don't. They even said, don't read the Gita. Forget write anything related to it. Don't even read
okay.
it. Was some advice for me. One relative also told, no, this is not your age to read. You should read Gita, not read Gita right now. After 60s, after 70s, maybe you can read and all. But so the clash is happening, isn't it? So selfish and selfless, these are absolutely opposite perspectives. So then how do we deal with it? And sometimes you can't push away your own near and dear people, isn't it? Can you? That's not an option at all. Unless that person only wants to say, I don't want to be with you anymore, then you cannot force that person to stay as well. But how do we work then in this situation? That is what we are going to get from Krishna. He says here, first he says, understand the opposite perspective also. Many times in life, we don't understand perspective which is opposite to us. That becomes a problem. Everybody is functioning according to a perspective. Selfish person has a perspective also, just as a selfless person. So understand the perspective Krishna is saying. First, he says, see, just as how ignorant person is driven by desires. I want this much salary. I want this much return. I want this much return of my good deed I have done. I must get this in return. So I will keep doing my work. That is an approach of a person. Just like that, the selfless person also should be motivated by what? By loka sangraha. Just as men of ignorance perform their actions all engrossed in attachment, so too the wise remain motivated as a norm to better the world by their works and detachment in a detached manner. Detached manner means whether you get criticism or whether you get praise, whether the entire society says you are the worst person on earth or the entire society says you are best person on earth, you are detached because you're not connected with the praise or the blame. You are connected with making the world a better place. Be ready to take up all the criticism, all, and sometimes the more you get criticized, the better you can become. You can say thank you. It is God's special blessing that you are getting curses from your dear and near ones. Enjoy it. Try to experience it like a medicine which is going to make you better. So detachedly become motivated. If you are motivated by Loka Sangraha, you will have clarity of thought. You will never deviate from your mission. That is as simple as that. Now comes the second part. How do we coexist? Na buddhi bhedam. This is a big principle. Na buddhi bhedam. Don't create a divide in another person's intelligence. Na buddhi bhedam janayed ajnanam karma sanginam. Joshayet sarvakarmani vidvan yuktaha samacharan. So the wise person learns to function without creating a divide in the mind of the other person. Simple principle which is very, very practical. You can be with your friends, you can enjoy your time with your friends without getting yourself disturbed, without allowing your mission to get deviated also. And at the same time, furthering the active, whatever objective also is there. Krishna says, without creating a divide in the ignorant minds, a middle path the intelligent mind finds. He gets the right work done from the attached, despite his remaining fully detached. Yes, the individual is detached, but yet the getting the right work done. Why? Because that person's attachment you have found, isn't it? When you find the attachment, you find a sutra of that person. This person is going to function according to this. It becomes very predictable. Get your work done. What is your work? Your work is Loka Sangara. It is not a selfish work. It can be done. One simple example I can think of was we have a bunch of friends who are alumni of our school. We have a group, and then suddenly one person told us that one teacher is suffering. One of our school teachers is in a very bad shape financially. So we decided let's do something about it. Again, so what do we do? Everybody is in their different lives. Everybody cannot financially contribute large sum. So we've had discussions. In that, we have groups of auditors now. There's an advocate, there's an auditor, all of them who were classmates. For us, we are all classmates to each other, but we are professional in different fields. Suddenly, clashes started happening, and they were all originating from one of our friends only. Every time consensus was being formed, this person was breaking that consensus. Then the leader of that group called, and I think he told me, let's kick him out of the group. And that's the wrong thing, no? You lose a friend forever. How can you lose that? So what do we do? Every time, means when we were talking, we had an immediate problem that our teacher needed something, we needed to be done for this. Let us work on it. He would say, no, I don't believe in this. Why should we have partiality to one teacher only? There may be many teachers. Let us form a trust. Let us do that. Every consensus was being broken. So we all decided, our core group had a meeting and we said, let's make him the boss. let's tell this person, because he wanted to show his importance. So we said, let him feel that he is the one who is calling the shots. So we called and we said, we want your direction. Your experience is so important for our group. Please do the right thing. Show us the way. Your idea for the trust is very beautiful. We will follow it afterwards. First, work on this. So in this way, we didn't lose that person, and you won't believe that person worked better than anybody else. For 5 months, we didn't have to worry about collecting funds. He himself personally called everybody, and then after fifth month, he got tired. He, what we can say, that fuel of running the show became too much for him. He said, "Now I have set everything for all of you to follow my lead. So I'm withdrawing." We said, thank you very much. But the core group, we had a laugh because this is exactly what we wanted. We didn't want to lose the friend also, but we wanted the work to go ahead also. It's a very subtle principle of na buddhi bhedam. It must be done. Krishna didn't do buddhi bheda in Arjuna in the first adhyaya, isn't it? Arjuna talked all sorts of nonsense to Krishna. Varna Sankara, Kulakshaya, Mitra Droha, Guru Hatya. The limit is, there is no end to it. Krishna, you were also greedy. Now, if Krishna quickly tried to tell him at that time, Arjuna would have fled. Tempers would have fled immediately. Instead, Krishna was quiet. Acha, okay. Right from the beginning, he says, I want to fight. I know my opponents. Show me my opponents. He says, yes, boss. See? That's all he says. And then Arjuna's emotions suddenly start going out of control. He allows all the, like pressure cooker, we allow the steam to go out before opening it. Something like that. He allows him to speak. Then he just says, no, no, Klaibyam Masmagama Partha. He just says one line. Again, Katham Bhishmam. Again, there's still some steam inside. Acha, okay, I will wait. Again, he goes on and then he says, Karpanya dosho patas svabhavaha. He is receptive. That time, Krishna is parting the Gita. When somebody is receptive, you can try to tell them or teach them. Otherwise, don't do buddhi bheda. Psychologists also tell this is the most important principle. You go and break somebody's ideology, what's going to happen? You're breaking the fundamental functioning aspect of that person. It's like a skeleton of that person. You're not going to touch it. Let it remain. Let it remain. But when you want to do Loka Sangra, understand it is not wrong. Now, when we told our friend, "Ki, we want your guidance," I don't think we really did anything wrong in that. Only we didn't create the disturbance in the mind because Loka Sangra spirit was maintained. Otherwise, we would have lost one person unnecessarily. Not that it would have made a big difference, but again, losing a friend is losing important entity of our life. Why should we lose that? So that was the way it helped. So many places clashes can be avoided without creating a divide. You want to convince somebody, let that person understand or feel the need to get convinced. The person will automatically understand it. My mother wanted me to read the Gita. I would close my ears. No, I don't have time. अभी नहीं माँ नहीं सुनना है. Well, so I have to play. I want to play badminton. I don't think Gita is useful right now. But now afterwards the time came. No? So like that, people's transformation times will come. You don't have to draw a judgment just because somebody is like this now. But at least this much, don't try to create a divide. Later on also we'll go. This is a principle of psychologists also. Why Krishna is called Maha psychologist, or we can say best psychoanalysis person is Krishna only. And if you still don't believe, you want to do experiment like research design, you do an experiment and try to do buddhi bheda. If the person is a, what we can say, neurotic person, that person will fall into sorrow because of you. If that person is psychotic, he will attack you, he or she. So you'll have to be ready for that. So that is your option. Or follow the experience of the Shrestha and the wise person. Protect yourself from the liabilities which are unnecessary. So without creating a divide in the ignorant mind, a middle path the intelligent mind finds, he gets the right work done from the attached, despite himself remaining fully detached, meaning you're not losing your detachment while you're functioning with a person who is not detached. You remain in your consciousness. You don't lose that. प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्मणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढ़ात्मा कर्ताहम् इति मन्यते. All types of actions originated from nature's qualities and their interactions. Prakriti and guna. This is the reaction. There's an equation is there connecting Prakriti with the gunas. All works are a product of that. The ignorant one, who is by his ego deluded, thinks his outer self is performing all actions. The one who is driven by ignorance feels, I am only so and so. I am so great. I am like this. I am like that. My identity is most important. How important is our identity? It is not. Today it is there, tomorrow it will not be. It is a temporary thing. Instead, understand you are a part of a consciousness which is functioning for some purpose which is higher. That is easier. But one who is ignorant does not understand it. Tattvavittu mahabaho gunakarma vibhagayoho guna guneshu vartanta iti matva na sanjate. O mighty armed one, those who know the foundation of how nature's qualities through works function, know that the senses attach to sense objects and are unperturbed and detached in all aspects. Somebody who is wise, somebody who is mature, somebody who is what we can say, what we saw already, Sthita Prajna, who has reached that state of balance, inner poise, he or she can understand. ठीक है, senses and sense objects is this connection. I saw something I didn't like. That's going to create frustration, isn't it? Krodha will come inside. If you can see something you don't like and still become quiet on the inside, isn't that greater? Isn't that better? Hear something you don't like. You are a big fool. Somebody tells you this. All your life you have done this. You are only responsible for all the wrong in the world. If you get attached, what's going to happen? You feel, why is this person saying, why is this person? I remember I had got very disturbed once when somebody, one elderly person, mother-like figure said, you are so bad. You are going to receive this. I was like, what did I do wrong? Why am I being asked like that? Because I was attached emotionally to that person. But that time it hurt, no? When you are being told, it becomes, "Ki, Arey, this is mother figure. She should be saying, she should be giving me black forest cake. She shouldn't be saying people will put cow dung in my mouth. This is a different aspect. But attachment then makes a problem, isn't it? Attachment allows you. But then what happens? Nature is there to teach you. Nature will make you evolve. Wise people understand. When I was young, I was a little stupid. When Bhaiya told me touch fire, I went and touched fire and learned it is bad. So I burnt my hand. But my sister was very wise. She didn't have to put her hand in fire and burn it to understand this is not to be done. So that is something like that. Gita is telling the same thing here. Wise people understand, Krishna says, so they are unperturbed. It's all right. Somebody thinks I am a fool, somebody thinks I'm a bad person. That person has a right to think or not. Or can I say I'm dictator? Here, henceforth, nobody is allowed to think anything other than what I decree. No, it's not. Let that person think that way. It's not your job to correct another person's way of thinking. Let that person be happy thinking the way they want to. Let me continue with my karma. Let me hold on to my dharma. That is all I have to see. Becomes very simple then. Prakrutir guna sammudhaha sajjante guna karmasu tan kritsna vido mandan kritsna vinna vichalayet. These qualities of nature bewilder the ignorant who wish not to forego attachment at any instant. He who knows should from disturbing them abstain, and from altering their mental state he should refrain. How clear Krishna is telling this. Somebody who is attached, you go and say, no, no, listen, this world is temporary. The person will say, you are temporary, or I'll ensure you become temporary. Move out of my place right now. Because you're not going, that person will not understand. Your job is not to disturb somebody else's Shraddha also. Some people offer certain things to certain devas. They have this habit. Somebody comes and says, I read about this. Offering flowers to God is useless. Arey, that person is getting the joy. Let that person get that joy. Don't go and disturb somebody else just because you feel you are on a higher consciousness. That is not right. That person's Shraddha, you follow according to your. As long as it is not troubling you directly, your job is not to disturb another person's mind. It is as simple as that. That way only you can allow harmonies to continue. Otherwise, disharmony will happen at every single point. At every single point. It doesn't have to, every point we cannot have Kurukshetra, no? Kurukshetra also took place after so many years of disharmony till the tipping point was reached. Why do we have to invite more troubles than required? So don't disturb the mental state of another person's mind. Krishna is saying refrain from doing that. It helps a lot when you are working in systems also. Working with people with different perspectives, different, in organizations, different teams are there. And sometimes you will enjoy when you see later on, when we study the Gita, we'll see gunas. Sattva, Raja, Tama, you will watch the game of the gunas taking place. And if you know you are a master of the game, you will, even the person who is your critic will come to your aid. only that person will not consciously come to your aid. Krishna will make him or her come to your aid. Lalita ji says, mother's book on flower gave awareness about different flowers and significance. Yes, okay, that is also true regarding, yeah. Means each flower, you can meditate on each flower and experience a consciousness. Like what we can say, hibiscus is power. You can experience that, something like that. Let us continue. Yeah. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyadhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yuddhasva vigatajvaraha. Here Krishna is very clearly saying, consecrating your actions to me, the supreme I. So Krishna is again indicating, earlier also he had talked about focus on the divine, control your frustration. Focus on the divine, control your imbalance. Right now Krishna is saying, consecrate your actions towards me. What is consecrating? It is offering. Tera tujhko arpan kya lage mera. Or there is a beautiful Sanskrit phrase, Vadiyam vastu govindam tubhyameva samarpayet. What is given by you, I am offering it back to you. So, consecrating your actions to me, the Supreme I, meditate upon yourself. That is a part of me. That Advaita consciousness will slowly come as you start meditating. Means inside of you is that self which is connected with the higher self or Supreme Self. This is focus on that without holding on to desires or prestige, without grief or remorse. Ready your weapons to lay siege. So Krishna is saying, forget all of this. Forget your prestige. I am so and so. Forget that outer upadhi or degree that you are having. Forget your desires also. Instead, focus on the divine. Offer it to the divine. If you do that, it is very easy to make your actions special or divine actions. Actions become divine. Mummy's laddus in Janmashtami taste divine or not? I think as a child, we all must have enjoyed it, isn't it? Special. Ganesh Chaturthi Prasad is very special. Sometimes children will mischievously ask, why you don't care for me? You care more for God. Maybe, maybe not. We don't know that, but we are getting the prasad, isn't it? Because it is offered to the divine. What will you offer to someone you love, someone you adore? You'll offer with your full heart and soul, isn't it? You'll offer the best. That is what Adi Shankaracharya also said beautifully in his Shiva Manas Puja. Shiva Manas Puja is one very nice one stotra which is very beautiful for times like even Corona times you could not go outside. Well, Shiva Manas Puja, construct a temple inside of your mind in dhyana. Full, there is celebration, Veena, Bhe, Mrudanga, Gita, Nrutya, everything is there. And in that last part he says, this is very beautiful. Yat yat karma karomi tadakhilam shambho tavaradhanam. Every karma that I am offering to you is an aradhana to you. Where nidra also ceases to remain sleep. It is not an inconscient or dumb sleep. It is an awakened sleep of samadhi state. Nidra samadhi sthiti is what is said there in the Shiva Manas Puja. So every action can be consecrated, and Krishna says, offer to me. I'm doing my duty. I'll do it for you, Krishna. That is it. Simple. If somebody has another Aradhya, I'm just saying Krishna because Gita, Krishna, and my bias is towards Krishna. You can, like in algebra, you have X can mean anything. You can add your Aradhya's name in place of it. So consecrate your actions to me, the Supreme I. Meditate upon yourself. That is a part of me. Without holding on to desires or prestige, without grief or remorse, ready your weapons to lay siege. Krishna says, he says, Ye me matamidam nityam manu tishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto nasuyanto muchyante tepi karmapihi. Another aspect, and Shraddha has come in for the first time in the Bhagavad Gita. The principle of Shraddha is there. Those amongst men who regularly perform and to my instructions, they dutifully conform. With the purest and blemishless devotion from karma's bondage, they attain redemption. Means with Shraddha, when you do some action, you will become free from karma bandhana. I think we will stop at this shloka because a very important aspect has been introduced, that is Shraddha. We'll just touch on to this. What is this Shraddha? But Shraddha is allowing you to become free from karma bandhana. This is interesting. Means generally you do some action and then that action can help you become free from something, we can understand. That is an upaya. But how is Shraddha becoming an upaya for mukti from karma bandhana? Because many times people say, no, there's Jyotish, see the astrological charts and say, you have to do this upaya. You have so many big sanskaras from last birth, everything. You do this like this. Sometimes people say, do Shirshasana, go into water, come out, hot water, cold water. God knows, n number of upayas are given. But after doing the upaya also, we don't get free. We feel what is wrong. Then we feel something is wrong with me or something is wrong with that God or what is wrong with whom, we don't understand at all. But now Shraddha alone is becoming a source for dissolving this karma bandhana. What is this Shraddha is the last thing we will look at today. Shraddha in Sanskrit is a very beautiful word which cannot be perfectly translated into English. We can have similar words to Shraddha. We can call it devotion. We can call it adoration. We can call it firm faith. We can call it belief. We can call it love. Whatever name we want to say. But Shraddha is Shraddha only in the best way you can say. Sanskrit word is that. My question is, we all have a Shraddha sthana in our life, isn't it? How does that help us? Having a Shraddha sthana, how does it help us? Anybody?
Anything good happens or anything bad happens, we offer to him. It is because of
Yeah.
him it has happened.
So this is
Or
God.
we blame him
Shraddha sthana.
also.
Yeah,
And
so this
also we
Shraddha
blame him.
is, acha, so Shraddha Sthan in Aradhya is very useful. All right. Kalpana ji is saying, okay. Yes. Anybody else?
It
We
will,
feel protect. Yes, please.
Okay, Aditi ji and then probably Vidisha ji. Yes, Aditi ji, you were saying
yeah,
something?
I think it will give us acceptance
It gives
of our
acceptance.
and hope,
Okay. And hope
acceptance
also.
of hope for the
Okay.
future and acceptance of
Okay.
because we are giving power to somebody,
Okay.
something
And we are
else.
receiving and we are getting something else also, probably calm, peacefulness, and
Yes.
something comes to you. All right. Okay. Vidisha ji? Yes, ma'am.
We feel protected that someone is there to look after us.
Yes, yes. And is there any specific, like we have a system, isn't it? We have a like classification of how this Shraddha works. Is there something we can write, or we can't make a classification, isn't it? We don't know exactly. Like, I think when I was in school, my grandmother, she did not study anything, and she had actually, grandfather gave her the opportunity. He said, go to school, I'll make you complete your education. She said, no, I'll make 100 chapatis every day. Don't send me to school. So that was her approach of life. So she chose that. But during my exam in school, maths exam also, she'll say, you will pass. Here, have a little bit curd. She used to give before the exam one small vessel of curd and sugar. All pressure after eating that curd would become quiet. Suddenly, I would become peaceful and then go for the exam. Meaning this was something which was not really logical if you see that way. But no, my Shraddhastan is, yes, grandmother is there, her touch, loving touch on the head, no, is making me calm and relaxed. Because it's like that, and everybody needs a Shraddhastan in life. A Shraddhastan is required. It could be the Guru, it could be Aradhya, it could be something, because Shraddha is a very powerful source of motivation, source of strength also. In the Gita, it will keep coming. Later on, we will understand its strength and power. It is something miraculous. It is something which can transform a person. A mouse can become a lion with Shraddha. It is something which is like Mukam karoti vachalam panghum langayate girim yat kripatam ham vande paramananda madhava. That is the shloka. One of the Gita Dhyana shlokas. With Shraddha, you are creating a ground for manifestation, for reception of grace. It is metaphysical also if you look at it, but with Shraddha, the ground is created. And that is why Shraddha is most essential. Krishna says Shraddha is going to help you get free from karma bandhanas also. Means like,
Sir,
yes, please, Meghaji. Yes, ji.
so can we say that Shraddha can be towards work also?
You can have a Shraddha towards work, but how will you keep Shraddha towards work? Because, say, for some reason, the organization that you are working ceases to exist from time, or the organization says you are not required anymore, then that will break, isn't it?
Okay.
So then till that breaks up, you will not. But then Shraddha Sthan breaks, then it will become a source of complete chaos, isn't it? That is why you have to find a right place for Shraddha Sthan. Even Guru you want to select, it's something, it's actually you cannot select a Guru. You can become receptive and the Guru comes in front without your, searching also. But it is said, Guru banana jaan ke, pani peena chan ke. Carefully, consciously, there is something. Because Shraddha is very, very important. It cannot be artificially constructed. My Shraddha is there in my mother. My mother is my Shraddha Sthana. She says something, I will not doubt it. Whether or not she knows it is a different aspect. But for me, I have lived, it's grown, isn't it? Tomorrow somebody comes and says, I am your real mother. Bete, this is the DNA certificate, like in the movies, they try to show some drastic scene. And say, it's not, my Shraddha is here and is not in the certificate also. It is in this living individual who has raised me, who has cared for me. I've experienced that love. It has come. So this will not shake. Shraddha is that which does not shake also. It is firm. It is something, a very solid foundation. Later on, we'll see Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Higher knowledge, consciousness also comes. There is a beautiful, we can say, anybody has heard of Totakacharya or Totakashtakam? Has anybody heard of the Ashtakam? Well, one of the Shishyas of Shankaracharya, he had great Shraddha in his Guru. Unfortunately or fortunately, he didn't have that much of intellectual capacities or something, or maybe he felt he didn't have that intellectual capacities, or he was not shining among the other galaxy of brilliant Shishyas of the Guru there. So he would always ask, including to senior Shishyas, when will I receive knowledge, will I become intelligent? They would say, yes, you will become. But they didn't really believe what they said. He was like a simpleton, but very sincere, and his one factor which was making all the difference was his Shraddha in his Guru. One day he was washing his clothes of his Guru or somewhere by the river, and Satsanga was going to take place. The Guru is present and he is missing. So the Guru is now waiting, and somebody passes a very snide remark. Why are we waiting for him? Anyway, it's going to go on top of his head. We can as well start. But the Guru says, no, let's wait. And suddenly at that point, only this young Shishya comes running. He comes running and falls at the feet, and he has an anubhuti. He has an awakening. He has a realization. And that time he starts composing a mantra in a Totaka meter, which is considered to be like there are different meters, poetic meters in Sanskrit. Totaka meter is considered to be difficult. And he composes it. It is called Totakashtakam very beautifully. Guru Pungava Pungava Ketanate Mahitopanishad Katitharthanide. It just goes on so beautifully. Later on, he gets the name as Totakacharya. Later on, he becomes Mathadipati also. The same Giri who was not somebody who was so, what we can say, great. That is the power of Krupa. That is why they said Dhyana Moolam Guru Murtim Puja Moolam Gurur Padam Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Krupa. So Shraddha Sthana we must have. Let us hold on to Aradhya if we can. We have to find it, and that Shraddha Sthana is there for everybody. Only it has to be realized. Many times through life experience, through sanskaras, what happens? That Shraddha is like a fountain, which is there inside, innate, inside of everybody. But some rocks and boulders are blocking the flow. That has to be removed because right now Krishna has said easily, Shraddha will allow you to even break the karma bandhana. Guru's Adesh, you have Shraddha in it, it is sufficient to save you from the biggest of troubles also. So sometimes Shraddha in your Aradhya. Atriputro Mahatejo Dattatreyo Mahamuni Tasya Smarana Matrena Sarva Papai Pramunchate. The Smarana of Dattatreya is enough for breaking all the karma bandhanas for all the wrong sanskaras. Or we'll just conclude right now with one small story of a ship was sinking. The ship was sinking, and then one boy was standing there. His father says, "Better don't worry. Stand here. Don't move from this place. I'll come to get you." Ship is sinking. Everybody, elders, youngsters, all are running left, right, everywhere, trying to save themselves. And the captain is somehow trying to organize the people, but nobody will listen, no, in panic state. So the captain is surprised. This one boy is standing in one corner without any worry, without any panic. He goes and asks, "Beta, why are you not scared? Look, if the ship is sinking, you know." "No, no, my papa will come, so no problem." That is Shraddha. His father did tell him the right thing. His Shraddha was also true, and it ensured that he didn't go in the wrong direction, and he got saved also. That is how it happens. So this, what is Shraddha, we'll have to see. And many times people say Andha Shraddha. Shraddha cannot be blind. Ignorance is blind. Ignorance is there everywhere. So wherever ignorance is there, where humanity is there is ignorance, isn't it? The best of best places. Also, you'll find people who are ignorant. But Shraddha is a little bit different. And that has to be understood. At least right now, it has been introduced. In Bhakti Yoga, it will be beautifully taught by Krishna. The chapter 12. Right now, at least we know this much. But if we understand this much, also we've understood the Gita. If we are able to keep Shraddha in Krishna, he will give you. There's one more shloka later on. He says, "Dadami buddhi yogam tam." I'll give you the knowledge. Capacity nahi hai, koi baat nahi. I'll give you the capacity. I will upgrade your software. You will be able to understand things which are beyond your capacity at this moment also. But the Shraddha has to develop. So this is something we'll stop here with a very important and a beautiful shloka about Shraddha. The Shraddha can also save you. Shraddha can liberate you. One thing interesting is Arjuna is going to ask a question. Everything is Krishna is talking about divinity. Then why is sin taking place in the world? That is his question. So we'll have to see how Krishna answers, and the way Arjuna asks also is quite interesting. So we'll stop here. Anybody wants to summarize or something that we saw? Yes, please. Anyone? We can form a brief summary and then conclude with the Shanti mantra. Yes, please. Yes,
It's
Miraji?
when
Yeah.
we see the faith of Bhakta Prahlada, he was not afraid of anything. He had complete Shraddha in Mahavishnu. He said, he will pray, he will look after me, he will look after me.
Yeah.
Whether you threw him from the mountain or you threw him to anything, he was had complete faith. I'll be all right. That is the Shraddha he had.
Yes. And who didn't have faith? Hiranyakashipu didn't have faith.
Hiranyakashipu.
What happens because of not having faith also is a very strange situation, isn't it? A dangerous situation. When you don't have faith in anybody, you start having doubts in yourself also then afterwards. So better have a Shraddha Sthana. Choose your Shraddha Sthana properly. That is also important. But most importantly, it's not an intellectual decision. It's a decision of the heart. You understand it with experience. So that we don't have to worry, because otherwise, what if I have wrong Shraddha? The Ganesha's name is Guru Pakhanda Kandakaya. If you have a wrong Shraddha in the Guru, the divine will punish that Guru or bring that Guru in the right marg also. You don't have, your job is not to check. Your job is not that. That is the divine's work. Shraddha will be ensured, isn't it? Shraddha will ensure it goes in the right place. It's like love. You offer it very perfectly, it will go. Maybe somewhere somebody misutilizes, somebody does it wrong. It's okay. It will come back. It doesn't get lost just like that. So that is something. Having it is having all the riches in the world, and not having it is like being the worst person in the world, because you are having nothing worse than that if you are not realizing that there is a Shraddha in your heart. So yes, Meeraji, that was a good example. Yes, anybody, can you add some more, and then we'll conclude with the Shanti mantra? Yes, please. Some of the points that we saw today. Lalita ji has written, yes, Loka Sangraha, be the change that you wish to see when you are doing karma. Yes, I'm talking about world peace. I am not peaceful. Can I manifest world peace? I want to make the world a brilliant place. My own backyard is dirty. Can I make the world? No. So let us start. Let us start Lokasangra. First, become conscious of your duties towards yourself, Swadharma, and then use your Swadharma for Lokasangraha. That is also important. So recognizing Swadharma is important, without which you cannot move ahead. So a gardener can do Lokasangraha by beautifully making a garden, isn't it? Actually, in our factory's gardener, he did a wonderful job, so we recommended his name to somebody in the hospital quarters. So there he went and did wonderful work in one place. That garden people saw in next garden. So now entire set of homes, this person, he wanted a job. But he did his job perfectly. It really created more referrals to him, and now he is busy that he's not coming to our ashram only. He comes once or twice, but it's not a problem. It's fine. That's okay. We can understand it. But you see, this is how development and evolution takes place. So Loka Sangraha is something which is excellent, and it is a great motivation. If we can use that, you will have a limitless motivation. It will always be there. Otherwise, you will be have a myopic view. After a while, you'll not be able to motivate. Somebody says, I want to lose 5 kilos. This is my pledge for this year. Okay, 5 kilos lost. After that, what? Put on 10 kilos. No, this is what happens because I want to become healthy. I want to become fresh. I want to become strong. I want to become, light. All these feelings which come into a person, then the person will continuously follow. He's not having a limited potential because I want to use my Sharira for sadhana. This is an important aspect of my life. I want to become conscious. Immediately it will change. But that is important. So, yes, that was one more point. So, I think Lalita ji has added one more point, that is na buddhi bhedam. This will, excuse me, yeah, that will create us a lot of, it will avoid a lot of clashes, even among friends. I don't think friends are born to fight with us, isn't it? They also don't, nobody likes fighting also. Generally, when two people fight, both are wrong. One person is holding on to one side, another person is holding on to the other side. Both are trying to convince why the other side is right. Instead, it's all right. Just yesterday, my friend gave me a nice 45 minutes lecture why Bhagavad Gita classes should not be held. Like, yes, thank you. Yes, yes. No, 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 you don't understand. You see this, that, this, that. He said, you see, spend quality time. I'm spending time with my daughter. You do like this, you do like that. I was like, yes, yes. Because I care for that friend. He is important to me. Yes, the advice is not, no. So that I will not create a buddhi bhed ki chalo theek hai. I said, yes, yes, I'll keep it in mind. This is the third time he has told me in the last 3 years. I always listen, but it's going on, isn't it? So this is important in life also. Many places, buddhi bhedam must not be done. But na buddhi bhedam should not be a ploy to avoid your duty. Sometimes it becomes your duty, it becomes your swadharma to correct what is wrong. You cannot say, no, no, I don't want to create disturbance. I went to college to complain about my own department's one clerk. He was charging us, we had to get that time it was important to get a recommendation letter from our professor. I was planning to go abroad for higher studies. So he asked me money for letter. One letterhead, one letterhead costs this many rupees. So I went with a full sincerity to HOD. Sir, this is happening in the government college. This person is charging. What did he do? He did not Buddhi Veda principle there. He said, oh, is he? I didn't know he was corrupt. Good, good, I'll keep my distance. I was thinking, what is wrong? Why the HOD has to keep distance from a clerk who is doing wrong? It's his duty. But here it becomes problem, isn't it? You are allowing injustice to go on. That should not happen. Little injustice only, balloons into something great chaos and anarchy. So there you have to stop. But otherwise, not everywhere. This is important. Don't try to disturb anybody else's Shraddha. Don't at all say that is not your job. Your job is you're busy already, isn't it? We have enough things to do. And if you start doing sadhana, every moment is for making yourself better. You are too occupied to get lost in anything else. So that is one important aspect, I think. Thank you, Lalita ji. That's also an important principle. So if nothing else is to be added, I'll conclude with a Shanti mantra, after which if any queries are there, you are most welcome. Hari Om. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। हरि ओम तत्सत्। कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। जय श्री कृष्ण। Namaskaram. We will meet now next week, isn't it? Yes, on Monday. Saturday, Sunday is off.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji, Namaskaram. Namaskaram.
Yeah, sir, like you said,
Yes, yes.
Shraddha cannot be defined by devotion. Then in the coming lessons, we'll see what exactly Shraddha's definition is.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'll try to find one article on Shraddha sometime back. It was written a year or two. I find it, I'll share it to you. Yes, yes.
Thank you.
But if we
Thank
can, Shraddha, even because that is a limitation of the English language, I said we cannot equate devotion only, because the devotion is talking about one angle of Shraddha. Means when you have Shraddha in someone, you are normally devoted to that person, isn't it? Means then love also is what it is, also a part, isn't it? Normally you feel it, it will all times you will be thinking about, isn't it? So, but it is Shraddha. Means Shraddha, now Guru, towards Guru, what happens? You always think Smaran is there, Chintan is there, then Manan is there, ki what words were told, that study goes on, something like that. So Shraddha is something which is experiential. You will experience it, you will realize it. Intellectually, it might be difficult to break it into words. But we will see. Gita will tell us. Krishna is very nicely going to say. Arjuna is going to ask now nice questions also. It is going to be more interesting, his set of questions which will come now. Yes, yes. It will
Thank
look
you.
like Arjuna has no Shraddha in Krishna. That is why he is asking these questions, the way Arjuna asks. But later on, we will see it is his Shraddha that is allowing him to take advantage of that freedom also.
Right. It's like stay
Yeah.
hungry, stay foolish. So he's doing that.
That's a nice, interesting one. Yes, yes. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Hari Om. Namaskaram. Hari Om.
Hari
Hari Om.
Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Okay.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Namaskar. Hari Om.